What's going on, everybody? I hope you've all been excellent. Welcome to another installment of Friday Q&A. As always, thank you for this week's questions. If you have questions for next week, put them in the comment section below. As always, if you want to support what I do, you can sign up to my Patreon, or you can buy some of my music. ragdollrock.bandcamp.com is the best place to do that. I've got my Headway acoustic guitar here for this little Q&A because all my electric stuff is packed up. I did a gig last night. I've got a gig that I need to head off to in about 25 minutes. And I have a gig tomorrow night. So I've been exceptionally busy over the last week, which I'm really fortunate to be in that situation. And it's been really nice to go out and play some music. So I'm going to play a little bit of music on my acoustic guitar in the interim because my ears are kind of smashed from last night. I find that's a pretty good general remedy. You go and do a really loud gig, and I find even using earplugs, my ears are still a bit kind of tender the next day. So I just basically sit around and play a bunch of acoustic guitar. I'll try to drop some little tips and hints as well, because I'm in Dadgad at the moment, and I love playing in this tuning and just kind of noodling around and writing in. It's a really good tuning for kind of laying out, you know, harmony and melody at the same time. But we're not here to talk about my life. Well, we kind of are, I guess. But we're not really here to talk about, you know, Dadgad or any of those extended tunings. If you're interested in that, I can do a separate video about it though, but I'll drop some little tips and hints. Let's get into the questions. The first one is a question that I should have answered last week. This one's from Wayne about changing strings while recording. Do I do it, you know, per record, per session, per song? The truth is, on guitar, I almost never change my strings when recording. I just kind of roll with whatever I've got on there. You know, if I've done a gig, you know, a couple of days before the session, I'll just leave the same strings on. Probably the grossest is I have a 335 that I had the same set of strings on for like 5 years, and we used it a bunch on the Ragdoll Here Today EP, and then the same set of strings on the All I Want EP the next year, and then I think a bunch of stuff from Back to Zero was tracked with the same strings, and at the end of it, it was sort of like, okay, this is officially disgusting. You need to change your strings. But the guitar sounded really, really good with that particular set of strings on it. And I use elixirs now, so I find that I don't have to change my strings as much. Having said that, though, on bass guitar, I think it's absolutely essential. If you're going to be tracking some bass, fresh strings make a massive, massive difference on there. You get so much more like snap and clarity and grind out of the bass. So that's really important. I just prefer to change, like, you know, an amplifier or the actual, just use a different guitar if you're not quite getting what you want out of the main guitar. It's only like a kind of last resort thing to change the strings. So yeah, I'm lazy and disgusting when it comes to that. On strings and other guitar related things, what do I think about stainless steel frets? Love them. Total convert. I've got stainless steel frets on my old Strat. Shout out to Tim at MT Guitars for his epic work on getting that done. And I really like it. You know, is there a massive change in sound? Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of like, could you just attribute that to maybe a new set of strings or something like that? But I like the way they feel, and I like the idea that, you know, probably don't have to change them for the rest of the lifetime of that guitar. So that's very cool. I think I will probably get a bunch of my other guitars done like that. And after playing that PRS DGT that my buddy Ray lent me, I'm totally into the jumbo frets. I love jumbo frets. I thought for a while maybe it's just because I'd read that so much that I love them, but I definitely do, especially for rock and metal guitar. So that's where I'm at with the frets. And I talked about Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora last week, and I used the term vanilla to describe them. That wasn't necessarily like a diss on them, because vanilla is delicious. Vanilla is also just like omnipresent and everywhere as well. And, you know, are Bon Jovi vanilla because they're boring, or are Bon Jovi vanilla because they just found the right formula that every single person likes and they became popular because they're good? Probably the latter. Same kind of thing when you see somebody play something like Hendrixing, you go, oh wow, that's really, really cliche. It's cliche for a reason. Jimi Hendrix invented all that kind of stuff. When he does it, it's awesome. When the rest of us do it, it's, you know, we're just kind of referencing the fact that he's awesome. So yeah, in that case, that's my defense of vanilla. It's not necessarily a diss at all, although it probably came off like that. So anyway, Dadgad, you know what's cool in Dadgad? Because you kind of drop D with some extra stuff on the top, if you play a power chord and then add the ninth. So this chord would be like fret 3, 3, and then 5, and you play that. But then you do the top 3 strings, you get some awesome droney stuff. Lots and lots of fun. This guitar sounds really, really good as well. All right, rolling with the questions. This one comes from Who's Your Daddy? Still one of my favorite YouTube usernames ever. And I hope you're getting a bit better, man. It sounds like you had just the perfect storm of a bunch of health stuff. So my regards go out to you. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're not going too stir crazy. Have I ever toured Europe? Yeah, Ragdoll did a tour there in 2016. We actually toured Australia, Europe, and the States in the same year. So that was a pretty epic year for touring for us. It was great. And Europe was amazing. I loved it. We got treated so well. I feel like especially in Australia, you know, Australians have tall poppy syndrome, where it's like, you know, you tell someone you play in a band and they're like, oh yeah, what, you think you're good? Whereas what we found was over in Europe, everybody really respects like the craft and the art of being a musician. So that was really nice. All the gigs we did were really, really fun and really cool. I think we played one of my favorite shows ever in Hyères in the south of France. We played a festival there, and we went on right as it was going from day to night. So when we went on, the sun was still out. It was just like beautiful, like springtime, late afternoon. And as we played, it got darker. The laser show came out. It sounded epic. The crowd was really, really into it. It was just one of those kind of special times. It was awesome as well because my wife came with us, and then Ryan's wife met us like halfway through the tour as well. So it was just kind of nice to not only play the shows but also kind of just immerse ourselves in all the history and the culture. And yeah, that was amazing. And I really hope that we're able to go back one day, because I just kind of had the time of my life over there in Europe. Also, what do I think of the PRS S2 guitars? I played a PRS S2 mirror right around the time the S2 line came out, and one of my students has an S2 Custom 24, and I'm pretty into it. I really, really like the mirror especially, and I would recommend if you know you don't have a whole lot of money to spend, but you want to get a pretty decent American-made guitar, the mirrors are a great, great rock and roll guitar right there. 5 Killer Riffs by Nuno, that's coming. The main thing is that it's by Nuno, and he's amazing, so there's going to be a lot of me actually wanting to do that justice, which means I have to do a lot of practice. But yeah, that one's in the works, and I kind of know the songs that I want to do. It's just going to be a case of sitting down and A, practicing, and then B, getting the tones right, and then programming everything. What do I think of Kurt Cobain as a guitar player? This is a spicy question, because I grew up in a household where, you know, Kurt Cobain was like the devil, you know, because he killed real guitar playing. So there's like a constant disagreement that I have with my dad about like the validity of that. But, you know, it's pretty clear that like Kurt Cobain was not Paul Gilbert. And I just feel like that was such a thing as a kid. It's like, no, he sucked because he couldn't like shred. No, shredding sucks because it's, you know, not about the song. It's like, both things are kind of awesome. And, you know, the fact is that like Kurt had some immense sounds and some immense riffs, and his stuff was memorable. And you could even argue that he's super important because, you know, it's accessible. You know, how many kids learn like Come As You Are or Smells Like Teen Spirit as their first song ever? And that's kind of the reason that so many people actually play the guitar. So, you know, whether you like the band or not, whether you think he was a good guitar player or not, still super, super important. And, you know, I challenge anyone to listen to the intro of In Bloom and not just have their face melted off by how massive that sounds. So, yeah, even though he was like an anti-guitar hero, he was, I guess, still a guitar hero. So second thing you can do in Dadgad as well is, you know, you can play octaves on the A and the G string and drone all those other strings and get stuff like this. very, very enjoyable. Right, we have a few more questions. What's the Lego set behind me? That one right there. That one's called Pirates of Barracuda Bay. It's, what do they call it? The Creator Series or something? So somebody submitted that to their website and they ended up building a version of it, which I think is pretty cool. When I was a kid, I had over here it was called the Black Skull. So it was the Lego pirate ship with the black sails. And my buddy had the, what do they call it over here? I think it's normally called the Barracuda or Red Sea Barracuda or something like that. I can't remember. It was called I think it was called the Dark Shark in Australia for whatever reason. But it had the red sails, and there's a really cool story with the kind of inspiration for that kit. But it's a really cool kit, and you can actually turn it into the pirate ship, which I always wanted that one with the red sails, but like to find one used, they're a properly like vintage, desirable Lego kit now, and they're kind of hard to find. So my wife got me that, and it's one of the best gifts I've ever been given. I look at it every day and just love it, and the detail is so cool, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. So that's that. The pink sticker on that amp is a Ragdoll sticker, the Marshall logo. That's actually Ryan's Marshall, and he took the Marshall logo off, and I was like, I'm going to put a Ragdoll sticker on there. So that's all that is. And when I'm dialing in an amp, what pickup do I start on? Depends if the amp has distortion or not. If it's clean, I always start on the neck pickup. That's my kind of go-to. If it's a crunchy amp, I will always start on the bridge pickup and kind of dial in the amp from there. So yeah, that's kind of how I roll when it comes to dialing in amps. And how do you guys do it? Like, let me know. What's your kind of go-to? Is it a clean sound and a Strat neck pickup? Is it a Les Paul and the bridge pickup into a Marshall or a Mesa? Is it the middle pickup combo on like a guitar with coil taps or something like that? I would be quite curious to know what everybody does there. All right, I'm going to play you out on some fingerstyle stuff. I know this was a quick one, but I do have to get rolling. So if you have questions for next week, please let me know in the comment section. A cool thing has arrived that I'm going to do a video on in a couple of days that I think a lot of you will enjoy. So it's sitting right here out of the shot, and I just saw it and I thought that I should mention that. So got some cool stuff coming over the week. Thank you so much for watching the video and for all your support for the channel. It's pushing nearly 50,000 subscribers, which is pretty mind-bending. So I'm going to try play my favorite little fingerstyle thing that I wrote a million years ago when I first tried Dadgad for you all. This is Dadgad thing number 3 that's really fun as well. And I will see you all very, very soon. Stay safe, be excellent to one another.